So last week I have a confession to make. I drove halfway to the cabin and realized I forgot all my camera stuff, and rather than turning around, I just worked without filming. It was pretty nice. I got a lot done. So you guys miss out a little bit, but not very much. Really what I did, I recessed this floor. The way I did that, I clamped my track saw to the floor joists, and I just ran my track saw along, and then I finished my cuts with my Ryoba handsaw. That worked great, so I did that on every beam, then every joist, and then I built up the joist so I'd have something to nail to, and then I used the same subfloor and put it back in. So once the Durock is around here, I'll have about 2.5 inches of recess, so that'll allow me to put my pre-slope and slope in. The other thing I did is I finished the venting. So I ran that out, and then I set all this drains. So I took it from the sink, put the shower trap in, I ran it over to the conditioned crawl space. I turned, I went over, connected up with the kitchen sink, and then I just came out right there where you can see. So first thing we gotta do today is put down our felt and our wire mesh. This is not the waterproofing layer, this is just the layer that gives us the right slope. So we'll get to the waterproofing later. Alright, so this is a 3-piece strain, and it compensates for the different height differences. I like to get the square so you don't have to try and make round cuts, which is possible, but I'm not very good at it. Someone gave me the tip to put this in my toolbox upside down. That's my glue. Thank you for that. A couple different people said to do that. So we're just gonna set this drain. Alright, so you take this off. This is what clamps your liner down. And again, this felt is not what makes it waterproof, so don't get confused by that. And there's also newer, more modern ways to achieve a curbless shower. But this is just, I know how to do it this way, and you know, I don't do enough of this to really justify learning a different way, so I'm just doing it the way I know. So this can go either way. If you need a higher drain, you can turn it this way. If you don't need it higher, put it this way. I don't really need it higher, so it's gonna go back down that way. So this is a sand topping mix, and you can also make this yourself with it's like 4-to-1 Portland cement to sand, I think. This isn't that ratio, but it'll work. Most of the time when people do this, I think they mix it too wet. So it should be like the consistency for making a sandcastle only. See that? That's pretty good. That means it'll pack together about right. Alright, so I got this little spacer here. It's built up to a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more than a 1/2 inch. And my longest point is like 2 feet 4 inches from those corners. So that'll be about right. And so what we'll do is, well, I'll show you when we do it. So what we'll do, just needs a little bit more. Alright, see that? I don't know if you can see that, but that's right. So now, let's see how that's. Alright, so I got this level, I got this hump here that's level in here, and I just go in and fill around the sides and make a perimeter. So I'm going to fill in offline, and then I'll show you how to do the rest, and I'll turn it back on a bit. So I mixed this a little bit too dry. I think another like cup or 2 of water, it would have been perfect. The reason I could tell is because when I went to smooth out the top at the end, I just couldn't get it that smooth, and there's just this flaky bits of the mix that kind of would just come off. It's still fine for pre-slope. It's still got plenty hard. It'll still do its job, but when I go and do the final slope, I mix it a little bit wetter, but I still don't mix it quite wet enough. So when I go to put the Thinset over it to put down the tile, I'm probably going to have a lot of that mortar mix that's just loose on top kind of getting in my Thinset. It's going to be a pain, so I'd say mix it a little bit wetter than I did. Alright, so there's our pre-slope. I'm pretty happy with that. It's got the proper slope all around it. And the pre-slope doesn't really have to be perfect. It just can't have any voids or obvious places water will catch. So I want to do this first so it can dry overnight. So now we're going to work on leveling the rest of the floor, putting down some masonry board, and then hopefully tomorrow morning we can put our liner in and finish this. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to deal with is that this floor is about a little over 3/8 of an inch, has a dip right here. And this is supposed to be 3-to-1 mixture to water. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to apologize for not filming this. I mixed half of this planty patch stuff up, and I do think I mixed it according to the instructions, but I think because it's super hot out and I also didn't wet the floor before I put it down, I couldn't spread it. So I had to throw that batch out, do this batch, mixed it wetter than the instructions said. And that seemed to work better. It was a high stress situation, so if I couldn't mess around with filming it, but I did manage to get it done. So this should be, it's not perfect, but it's just a lot better than it was. So I have to let this dry overnight. So I'm gonna put one piece of Durock down on the floor, but I can't put the rest of this down because the liner needs to go under that Duroc a bit, so we have to wait till tomorrow to do the rest of this. Alright, I'm gonna trace this out so I know where to spread my Thinset. Well, my Thinset slakes, I need to get this floor a little bit wet because it'll just suck the moisture right out of that Thinset and it won't be as strong. So I'll tell you, you guys think I'm crazy, but this is probably important. Alright, that should be good enough, huh? Right. I don't even know what I'm using, it's left over. I probably mixed it a little too wet. So I had some extra Thinset. I'm going to use it to continue to level out this area. I'm pretty sure it's okay to use Thinset up to like 1/4 of an inch. I don't know. If that's not true, I'm sure some tile guys can correct me. But I think if it's 1/4 of an inch or so, it's technically okay. Alright, you're supposed to screw this in addition to then setting it in. Alright, that's thin setted and screwed. Alright, I'm calling it quits for the night, but before we pack it in, it's a good night to use the whole house fan because it is 76 degrees inside. It's only 70 degrees outside, so let's go turn this thing on. So all these switches are going to move into the command control center someday. Alright, so that should be on. Here, this is on. There we go. All right, hear that? So that's the fan going. So yeah, so 70 degrees outside, 76 inside. So that's going to suck the cold outside air in, and it exhausts the hot air up in the attic out. So we're gonna let that go for a bit, and I think I'm gonna relax a little bit. It's about 9 o'clock. I'm pretty tired. My knees are killing me. So we'll once that mud bed dries, we'll check back in the morning. All right, day 2 here. This mud is dry, very hard. So we're gonna put the liner down. So I gotta figure a way to hold this corner down while I put my Durock on the floor on top of this. That'll be interesting. Alright, I figured a way. I got 2x4s underneath this, and it's just pushing the liner into the corner so that when I pull this out and set the rest of the floor, it won't be there won't be like an air gap underneath it. I got put this siliconized seal on here. That's no good. Alright, I'm wiping off all that silicone because that's just sealing weep holes. It must be under the liner that the silicone has to go, because that wouldn't make any sense to go on top, because it's got all these weep holes. I don't have the internet out here right now. Sometimes I do, but it's not been working. Alright. Pick the silicone out of these weep channels and holes. Now we're putting this on. Alright, just need to tape and mud these seams with this alkali resistant mesh tape. Alright, so this drain screws in like that. Just have to check its height one more time now that I moved it. Alright, that's about where I want it. So that's a little bit over 1/4 inch per foot. Collected a bunch of rocks from the driveway, and basically, that might be too many, but you basically put them that's too many. Take some of those away. That keeps the weep holes clear. Alright, let's get rid of those. And then it's basically the same thing again with the mud. Except I pretty much know where my level is. It's this perimeter. I'm using this stuff called Dense Shield, but I don't really trust it to make contact with the bottom here. So I'm gonna paint these with Aqua Defense and then transition to this Dense Shield stuff. Alright, so I gotta put blocking in for this sink. And this is 24 inches on center, so it's a little bit long to put 1/2 inch Durox. So we're gonna put that in there as a support. I gotta mount my shower control. So we're gonna screw this in here. This is kind of a matter of preference. Sarah's almost the same height as me, so seems about right. This has a specific up and down, and it's got to be centered on the drain. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it should be. Damn it. There it is. Alright, so we got to make these two pieces, so we'll use the magic hammer. Alright, let's get that connected. Where's my rings? Holy shit. No leverage. Holy shit. Okay, so that's gonna go there. That's gonna go there, but water's pressurized, so can't do that right now. Alright, so for the tub spigot, I've just got it capped off here. Why do they insist on putting stickers on the front? I mean, just put it on the back. Oh, that one is actually kind of easy. The last sheet I spent like a half hour trying to get the sticker off. See how easily this stuff cuts. So if you look at the Dent Shield product data, there's like a list of approved sealants for in between the seams. And this stuff, OSI, Quad Max, certain formulation is one of them. So we're going to use this. Well, I'm out of time, so I'm going to have to call it quits on this one. I got to be honest, I'm ready to be done working in this room. It's not very fun to film. It's hard to get good angles. It's a lot of squatting, tough on my knees. I just want to be moving on to something else. So hopefully we can get on to more exciting stuff soon here. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.